Everyone, hope everything is going well. I wanted to discuss the Great Curator. And I was thinking, should I even do a video on this? It's going to give him more publicity. I refer to him as, the Great Deceiver. Some people have different names for him, but ultimately, I'm still talking about this because the dude sets up at shows. And if he's, in my opinion, a lot of people would agree, deceiving people on YouTube. What is he doing on his deals? And just look at the things that he says. Just analyze what he says. It's just quite ridiculous what he's saying.
For being a gatekeeper in the hobby, as if gatekeeping bad actors in the hobby is a bad thing, right? Mm-hmm. As if it's bad to allow people to go into the hobby and take advantage of us, And I'm not talking about like necessarily fraudulent activity. I'm just talking about like, non-paying bidders, okay, or shield bidding, or taking advantage of new people who don't know how to value cards. Mm-hmm. Bad actors, okay. And for the longest time, early in my content, I always talked about having a high standard of conduct within the hobby. Okay. That we hold each other accountable, like an unwritten rule, like gentleman investor is what I used to call.
Yes, I remember.
Is the term I used to use. Being a gentleman investor, treating people with respect, kindness, and helping people. And when you do that, you set a standard, a high bar, a standard of conduct in the hobby that will gatekeep bad actors.
Okay.
Right? And then those stupid trolls, they basically took it out of context and trying to say that I'm trying to keep people out of the hobby, as if anybody would ever do that, right? As if anything in my content ever speaks or conveys that type of message.
So it looks like he was taking out of context what we're even saying, but there's a lot to digest here. Number one, he's talking about how he made that gatekeeping comment, that Sports Card Radio put on their video. He's saying that, hey, look, we wanted to keep the bad actors out. Sports Card Radio made an interesting point in their live today. I'm going to be posting it, I don't know, Friday morning, Saturday morning, whatever it is. That why did Great Curator delete that video if he's talking about gatekeeping the bad actors out of the hobby? That's number one. Number two, he's talking about, we need to keep the shield bidders out and all that. And I discussed this. And he blocked me when I started to bring up the notion that there was shield bidding going on Zero Cool cards a couple years ago. Apparently that was too negative to talk about then. And now all of a sudden he's talking about this. So I find that really strange. And he basically said that what we're talking about is basically BS. And some of the things that were coming out against him. Well, if you watch Dan the Cardman's video, he labeled many instances where the Great Curator did the hanky-panky. Okay? He talked about, number one, we could review these again. And John Reckoning did a video on this where he took advantage of his friend, Sunday League Investor, or one of his pals in the hobby. You could look at that video online. You could look at the fact that, number two, in terms of negotiation tactics, he hypes up the comps. And I've described that in multiple videos. And he was talking about a high standard of conduct. Can't we apply those same rules for you when you do collabs with dApps where you fake content, you stage content? So what is it? Is it about people that are calling you out? Those are the people that are considered as negative and we're not doing a good enough job to keep the bad actors out? Or is it just simply a deflection? Like, what is it? That's what I would like to know from his end. And he didn't refute any of the points that Dan, SCR, and I have made. That's what I found ridiculous. He was just saying, oh, what we're saying is bogus. And ultimately, a lot of people can see through this. I mean, he can speak well. He's a lawyer. He knows how to deflect. That's what lawyers are good at. But he didn't even respond to what we were saying. And he did the same thing 2 years ago. That's why people go after him. He plays the role of the victim. Last thing I wanted to mention, I think this was ridiculous. I was talking to a few people about this, but let's take a look at this.
That make these guys attack me, not attack you, right? It makes you wonder a little bit. So with that,
Okay, I'm gonna rewind it. Let's just listen to maybe like the last 30 seconds. Let's try to listen to this again. Listen to this carefully.
Guy that never shuts up.
what are the obvious differences? Yeah, that's the thing I talk more. Between me
I
and
mean, I
you,
do if you let me. He just
that-
doesn't let me.
that make these guys attack me, not attack you, right?
Yeah, it's a commercial, but
Uses a sauna.
But ultimately, he was saying, why are people attacking Murley? I seriously want you to listen to this again. Maybe I have to go a little back and listen to this. Okay.
You
And where did
Yeah.
we meet?
at a show in the hobby, right?
Exactly.
So you are essentially doing the same thing that I am doing.
Yes.
Okay, you are essentially doing the same things that I'm doing. But yet, the venom that these guys have is towards me, not towards you. And it starts to make me wonder, what is the difference between me and you? What are the obvious
Because
differences?
you're the guy that never shuts up.
Is he trying to insinuate that people go after him more because he's not white? That's how I interpreted it. And after talking to a few people, they saw the same thing. We don't care about people's race. Some people may make off-color remarks, but that's not the vast majority of people. And what's the ironic thing of what he said? The people who have been very critical of the Great Curator have been Dan the Cardman. Dan the Cardman's wife is Asian. Why would Dan the Cardman just start attacking him, especially when his wife is Asian? How does that make any sense whatsoever? And Dan the Cardman is half Albanian, okay? So you can't use that argument. This is one of the most ridiculous arguments, if I'm interpreting this correctly, okay? And me, look, I have dark skin. I'm a minority. My name is Rahul. Like, what on earth is he talking about? India is part of Asia, last time I checked. Okay. So why would I care about his skin color? What's the most interesting part is that I have Vietnamese people message me all the time in the comment section as well. They said that they hate his guts. They can't believe that he's their same race. That's what they tell me. Not only that, other Asian Americans at the National came up to me saying, "Hey man, I like how you call things out." I don't care about someone's race. This is the most ludicrous thing I've seen. The most ludicrous thing, because that's how I interpret it. Did you interpret it that way? Let me know. And, what I find quite interesting is that his followers, they fall into the same trap as him. They don't refute the points that we're making. They just say that we're haters. Like, refute the points. Refute the points about him staging content. Refute the points of him overhyping comps. Refute the points about the Sunday League investor situation and him taking advantage of him. Refute the points of all sorts of hanky-panky going down with this guy. There's a reason why people go after him. Vast majority of people don't care about skin color. Anyways, let me know what you think and I'll talk to you later. See ya. Bye.